Hi everyone, welcome to our reopen plan. This video is going to take the place of the meetings that we were going to have this week in the church to introduce you to all the new things that COVID has caused in our school. Most of you have received the reopen plan. It was sent to you last Friday. At that point, it had not been approved by the health department. Since then, I've talked to the health department over the phone. We've made a few tweaks. Most of this plan has stayed the same. I want to start by saying that our plan is what is going to work for St. Pat's, and it may not work for your family. You as the parents need to decide if this is the plan that's going to be best for your family. If it's not, please call or email me and just let me know. No hard feelings. Our plan is to be open every day. Kids in the classroom spaced 6 feet apart. Grades 3 on up are going to be wearing masks almost all day, and the younger students are encouraged to wear a mask, but it is not required of them. I understand that there are some people who are more comfortable doing the virtual lessons and keeping their children at home. I respect that, and if that's what you need to do for your family, please do that. Just email me and let me know. Our plan has always been to reopen and have kids in the building. We've made changes to the building and how we're going to be doing lessons and how the kids are interacting. Having said that, you need to know that kids are kids and they're going to touch each other. There's nothing that we can do to stop that. We're going to proactively encourage them and remind them they need to stay 6 feet apart. But they are kids, and inadvertently, or sometimes even on purpose, because they're kids, they're going to touch each other. We are going to be documenting who your child is in contact with, who they sat by, who they're at with at lunch. All of those are going to be assigned seating arrangements. For our younger students, for choice time or centers, they may end up having their own set of things to play with at their desk, with their friend who is at a desk 6 feet away from them, also having their own things to play with. Classrooms will be cleaned and disinfected daily, sometimes more than that. Right after centers, they may wipe off their desk. We are doing everything to keep them as safe as possible while in the building. The health department is probably going to recommend that we all do virtual learning. That's not what St. Pat's is doing. The health department is aware of our plan. The health department is aware that we're going to be in school every day. That is our plan. So again, please do what's best for you. We want everyone to be as comfortable as they can be with the situation. There's so much unknown. And it feels like as soon as we put something out there and we're happy with the way things are going, it all changes again and our world turns upside down again. So just know that our plan is to be in school all day, every day. And unless the governor closes us down again, that is our plan. If the governor does close us down, then we will go to virtual lessons. Okay, school is going to begin on Wednesday, August 19th. Some of our younger grades, pre-K, kindergarten, first grade, may have a staggered start. Your child's teacher is going to notify you of that. Before school starts, on August the 10th, we're going to have Meet the Teacher. This is really important that you, if at all possible, make this happen for your child. Come in. You're going to make an appointment. You're going to go to your child's classroom. You're going to talk to that teacher. Bring your child. It's important for them to meet their teacher. Spend some time with that teacher. We're asking you to make appointments so that we don't have 200 people in the building all at one time with all of their families. And then on the first day of school, the only people in the building are going to be students and staff. That's a huge change from the past. In the past, we've had our cheerleaders out there in balloons, and it's exciting, and we're taking pictures, and everyone's happy about being back in school. And now, yes, we are happy that we're back in school, but it's going to be, you can walk them up to the narthex doors. Everyone should have a mask on. and then you're going to have your child go through the doors, and there will be a staff member inside waiting to take your child to their class if they don't know where to go. I understand this is not what we've always done, and we hope to go back to the day when you can come into the building freely. But for now, students and staff are the only people allowed in the building. That will begin on the very first day of school. Okay, what other information do you need to know? Masks are going to be worn by all of our staff and all of our students grades 3 on up. They need to be worn almost all the time. So when we're in the hallways, everyone's going to be in a mask. When we're in the classroom, everyone's going to be in a mask. When we go to lunch, that'll be the time when your student doesn't have to wear a mask because they're going to eat and their drink. Some of our grades have snack time, and so they're not going to wear their mask when they're eating their snack. However, all the other times they are. A teacher may decide that they want to go outside and have a lesson outside, which is fantastic, weather permitting. And then when they're outside, if they're spaced 6 feet apart, then they don't have to have their mask on during those times. But students need, and staff will have to wear their mask all the time. And the mask can't be something that they're playing with all the time. The mask is to keep us all as safe and healthy as we can be. The next thing that we probably need to talk about is when you're coming to school, before your child gets here, you're probably going to get an email or some form of documentation that you're going to sign off on, or checklist that your child does not have a temperature, your child is not vomiting, your child is not coughing or sneezing in a way that isn't normal for your child. So I say that because when I talked to the health department yesterday, we did talk about seasonal allergies, and we don't want kids out because of an allergy. But if it's something unusual or different, then yes, your child needs to stay home so that they don't accidentally spread germs. If it's seasonal allergies and it's something that we're already aware of, then we're going to work through those things. However, if your child has a fever or is vomiting, they must stay home. If your child comes to school because they're feeling fine, but at some point during the day they become ill, they're running a fever, they're vomiting, they're coughing uncontrollably, we're going to contact you, and you will need to be able to pick up your child within a half hour. Now, I know that as a working person, you may not say, well, I can't just leave my job, and I get that. That's why I'm letting you know this now. You need to have a backup plan if you're at work who can come and pick up your child. And it's probably a good idea to have a backup to your backup plan, because if your child becomes sick at school, you need to be able to pick them up within a half an hour. So why is that so important? If a child becomes sick at school this year, they're not all going to wait in Nurse Lori's office. They are going to be, if they're a Seton Hall student, waiting in a room in Seton Hall with myself or another staff member. If it's a student in Newman Hall, they'll wait in a room in Newman Hall with myself or another staff member. That means that while I'm in that room or the other staff member, they're not doing what they would normally be doing on a regular day. So we're giving you that time of a half an hour. Please be able to pick up your child within that time frame. Please have a plan. Please have a backup plan. Please have a backup to your backup plan if your child were to become ill at school. We're going to be washing our hands all the time. There's already hand sanitizer in all the classrooms, but we're going to spend some time washing our hands and practicing that and how long that should be so that your children understand the importance of doing that. We will be cleaning our restrooms frequently. And so what does that mean? We have scheduled restroom times. So pre-K will go at 2 certain times in the morning and 2 certain times in the afternoon. And when their class is done, those teachers are going to walk through and spray the restroom with something that's similar to Lysol, but it is definitely not the Lysol name brand, but it does kill those germs. And then there'll be a waiting period before the next group of students goes in. That homeroom teacher will walk through the restroom, spray everything down, And then it'll be a break before the next group goes in. The idea is to keep it as clean and sanitized as we possibly can. What is the cafeteria going to look like? In the past, we've used about half of the cafeteria. Now we're going to open up the entire cafeteria. All of the tables will be down. The students will have assigned seats. There'll be an empty table between every group of students to practice that social distancing. We still want them to talk to each other. There will be absolutely no sharing of food. There will be little decals on the floor showing what 6 feet looks like in case everyone's going through the line. Because let's just face it, pizza's a great day to get food in the cafeteria, but we want them spaced out 6 feet apart. In the past, for the cafeteria, students have had a choice of maybe, would you like green beans or corn? And now everything is going to be, this is what we're serving for lunch this day. There is no student choice. In the past, students have been able to self-serve their fruit. So they might have grapes or strawberries or watermelon that they could self-serve. And now everything is already going to be on the tray. They'll pick up their tray and they'll go to their seats. So that's how that will look. Recess will be different. Instead of having 100 kids outside running around, each homeroom teacher is going to be staying with their group of students while they're outside for recess. And your recess time might not be exactly right before or right after lunch. There have been discussions already about events that we typically have. So things like Christmas program, parent-teacher conferences, and all of those things, those may end up actually going virtual. A decision hasn't been made about those at this point. We will kind of see how the first few months of school go, and then we will keep you notified weekly with how things are going. Music is going to look different. We're not going to have a children's choir or handbells, at least not right away, because we don't want to take the chance of spreading our germs when we're singing out loud. Library is also going to look different. Library will be, instead of the kids going down there and looking at all the books, the homeroom teacher may say, hey, this is what we're looking at, or these are some of our favorite authors for students in our class, and our librarian will gather books, take them to the teacher. Those books will stay in those rooms for 2 weeks. When they're finished with those books, then the teacher will get them back to the librarian. They will sit for 72 hours, and then the librarian will reshelf them. When the books actually get to the classroom, the teacher will give out the books, and we won't be sharing those books with each other. Sadly, at this point, no field trips this year. So everything is on hold. We may revisit that in January and see how things are going. But as it stands right now, there will be no field trips. So no camp for our 6th and 7th graders, no overnight at the zoo, which we started last year. No Washington, D.C. for our 8th graders. All of those things have been put on hold until we learn a little bit more about how COVID is going to affect us going into this school year. So in the past, a student may have left their pencils at home, or they may run out of paper, or they need an eraser or a pen. This year, we're not sharing any of those things. So if your student doesn't have those things, they're going to have to ask the teacher for a new one, because we don't want kids to interact in that way. We want everyone to have their own set of supplies that they're using. Also, in the past, we've had parents bring in things that have been left at home, gym clothes, band instruments, lunches, all of those things. Once your child is in the building, they're in the building for the day, and we're not going to have parents bringing things that were left at home back to school for that student. We will figure it out. I can guarantee there will not be a child that goes without food unless they choose not to eat what is available to them. Typically, we make a little extra at lunch, and so if a child leaves their lunch at home, we could provide them with something from the lunchroom. I know that I myself have food in my school office all the time, and so sometimes kids will come up and get a protein bar, or some of the cereal I bring, or some of the soup that I bring. All of those things are prepackaged, so it's not like I'm giving them homemade soup. I don't cook that well. And so they can have those options for them. You may be wondering what EDP is going to look like. We have a plan. we will see how the first few weeks go. So pre-K is different. They're in their own little world. Pre-K EDP, drop off and pick up, even if they're not going to EDP, is from door 13. That's the East Gate door. Parents aren't going to come into the building. They're going to sign their student in right there at that door, and then the student will go right into their classroom because it's right there. For morning EDP, Miss Mank will be taking care of that, and she will sign your student in and then walk them into the classroom to sit down. Breakfast, of course, will be served at 7:30. In the past, we've allowed kids to play in those classrooms, and we're not doing that. They're just going to sit, eat their breakfast. They can talk to each other. They'll be socially distanced, but they may be watching a video or a Go Noodle on the screen. For everyone else in the building, so K to 8, if they're going to use our EDP in the morning, they will walk down the ramp. There's already a buzzer on the door. They will be signed in. They will be assigned seats. Once we get to 15 or more students, we're going to have additional adults down there to help with that. Morning breakfast will be very similar to morning lunch, meaning there's no choice. This is what we're having for breakfast this day. They can go through the line and get their breakfast. They will be dismissed in groups of 15. In the afternoon, typically we have more students in the afternoon than we do in the morning, so we'll dismiss, which will also be a longer process this year. And then the plan is to have the kids go down, sign in, and then because there's more than 15 kids in the afternoon, we're going to spread them out in the cafeteria. We may end up using part of the gym, but then we're also considering having students go into classrooms in groups of 15. If they do that, the plan is to have a snack, and then students can start on their homework so that hopefully they can get their homework finished before they ever go home, depending on how late they're here at afternoon EDP. Just for a note, EDP is an additional charge. It's 75 cents every 15 minutes or $3 an hour. Students log themselves in. Dismissal is going to be different. We're going to have, hopefully all the buses come before 3:15, so we get all the bus students out of the building, and then we'll dismiss a grade level at a time. And it's going to take a while because we need for students to go out, get in their cars, and leave. In the past, we've congregated and socialized, and all of that's really important, but we really need parents to pick up their children and go home for the day. We're doing our best to keep class sizes at 15. There are some classes that have more than 15. You have been made aware of this since I think early June, maybe mid-June. We have had a few students withdraw since then, and so some of our classrooms have actually met that 15 maximum students number. Our day will begin at 8:30. Students, if they're not going to EDP, can start to be dropped off at 8:10. They'll come to the narthex doors. They will be let in. Parents will stay outside and go to their classroom. And then at 8:30, we'll start with morning announcements. The day will end at 3:15, and that's when we'll start doing our EDP process. I do think that this is going to take a little bit longer than what we've anticipated in the past, and so the first few weeks of school, it may seem like it's taken forever, but we'll get into that routine and it'll run more smoothly. There are some grade levels that have snack in the morning or the afternoon, depending on when their lunchtime is. All snacks need to be for that individual. We will not be sharing snacks this year. And so just keep that in mind, that every child needs to have their own snack. In the past, there have been students who haven't brought a snack to school, and the school has provided that for them. They've come to the office to get those. That won't be the case anymore. Of course, the school will provide a few snacks for each individual homeroom that can be given out. Those snacks will be prepackaged snacks so that there's no concern about who's touched the snack that's been given out. We're also disabling all the water fountains because those are high contact areas. So please make sure you're sending 2 water bottles to school with your child every day. We want everyone to stay hydrated. So it's important that they have their water with them. We've talked about lunchrooms and drinking fountains. Every teacher has an email through the school, and they are very good about getting back in touch with you within 24 hours. I also have an email. Please always feel free to email me your questions, your concerns, and someone will get back with you within 24 hours. Know that if you email a teacher on Friday afternoon, they may not reply to you until Monday morning, just so that you're aware of that. We've talked about fall conferences. They may end up being virtual. Other than that, we'll keep you informed about that. We hope to make that decision by October 13th. There's some, if your child comes down with a fever, or if an adult comes down, if you develop a cough, fever, shortness of breath, or any other symptom that is suggestive of COVID-19. So keep in mind, it's a different feeling than something that you may experience with seasonal allergies. That person, the student or the adult, must stay home and isolate yourself, quarantine yourself until you are without fever for at least 24 hours. If it's a seasonal thing, then great, you can come back. If it's suggestive of COVID-19, you need to stay home for 10 days. That sounds like an outrageous number, but we want to minimize any opportunity to spread those germs. We're all going to learn through this. We understand that absenteeism may be higher this year. We're going to keep track of those things. I'm sure that other people were going to be asking us for those things. The health department, the ODE, everyone is on board because the whole world is experiencing this pandemic. So if a student or a staff member comes down with symptoms that are suggestive of COVID-19, and it's not like strep throat, which is something you would be diagnosed with, or seasonal allergies, they need to make sure that they stay at home with no fever for 1 day, no medicines, and they've had no symptoms that are suggestive of COVID-19, or those symptoms have improved, and they have to be out of the building for 10 days. Birthday treats, again, with that whole everything has to be packaged individually, so we can't go to Kroger and buy those really fun cupcakes with bright colors because they're not individually packaged. So everything for like birthday treats would have to be like fruit chews that come in their own individualized package. If you have questions, please contact me. I'm doing my best to get back in touch with people within 10 hours of them contacting me. Sometimes it reaches a day or 36 hours, depending on the craziness of the world that we're living in. But please, if you have a question, a comment, or a concern, reach out to me. My email is out there. The school number is 419-381-1775. My extension is 133. Messages that come to the school phone are sent to my computer, so even if I'm at home, I can get to those messages. It's going to be a great year. It's going to be totally different than anything we've ever experienced, but we can do this. Again, our plan is to be in school all day, every day. If that's not the best plan for you, please just let me know. We certainly don't want to lose any students, but you need to do what's best for your family. And then when all this craziness of COVID is over, hopefully we can get back to something of what our old normal used to be. I love you guys. I love this school. I can't wait to see your kids. I won't be hugging them or high-fiving them like I have in the past, but I'll do the wave and we will get through this. Let me know if you have any questions.